Hey folks, Hank here, and today I'm going to show you some simple steps that you can use to weather up your scale model Panzers and create a nice professional and authentic finish without too much trouble at all. We're only going to need a few basic products for this, so whether you're a true beginner or a seasoned modeler looking to brush up on your weathering skills, no pun intended, then you are in the right place. So let's get right into it. Today I'll be demonstrating these techniques on this Tamiya Panzer IV that I painted up in a previous episode, but she's looking far too clean at the moment, so let's dirty this thing up a bit. First things first, it's critically important to apply a coat of clear varnish to your model after you finish painting and applying your decals to help seal in and protect all of your work so far. Some of these enamel products that we're going to be using are caustic and can eat into acrylic paint, so be sure to spray your kit with a clear coat before proceeding to these steps. I'm starting off here with a little enamel dark wash. This vehicle has Zimmerit anti-magnetic mine paste applied, and whenever I have a vehicle with a really nice texture like this, I like to apply a rather liberal sludge wash of sorts all over that textured surface. This is going to flow into all the nooks and crannies of the Zimmerit and settle in the recesses, creating a really nice artificial shadow and grime effect that does a world of good for your kit. For the regular rolled steel portions of the vehicle, like the top of the crew compartment here, we'll do a little more traditional pin wash, again using some of our enamel dark wash and effectively tracing all of the lines on our tank. The wash will settle into the recessed weld lines and around the angles of armor plate, once again creating some nice shadow and accumulated grime effects. This all looks very heavy-handed right now, but stick with me, there's still much to be done. Once our wash is on there, we can grab some of our odorless enamel thinner and start removing some of our excess wash. What this is going to do is help the wash flow into all the areas where we want it and help us pull it off all of the raised flat areas of the tank where dirt and dust wouldn't naturally accumulate. You'll notice as I work here, I try and move the brush in a circular, almost pushing motion. This will help prevent visible brush strokes on the model once the product eventually dries. I'll leave some extended footage here as I work so you can get a better idea of the workflow and technique. We want to be sure to weather all areas of our vehicle with this enamel wash, whether the heavier sludge wash on the Zimmerit applied portions or the lighter pin wash on the rest of the vehicle, to ensure that we have a balanced level of grime across the whole kit. As you work, just always try and picture where dirt and grime would accumulate on the vehicle. Any recessed lines, grooves, panel breaks, etc. You can always remove the excess wash if it ends up somewhere you don't want it with a bit of odorless thinner. Alright, once we've applied our wash to the full vehicle, we can turn our attention to the tank's tracks. I've already gone ahead and done a basic paint job on these Panzer IV tracks and sealed in the paint with a clear varnish coat. If you do need some more tips on painting up tank tracks though, you can check out this video on the subject as well. Just like we did with our tank itself, we'll start out by applying a basic dark wash all over our tracks. With that applied, let's set the tracks and the tank aside for a few hours to let all of that wash dry completely. Patience, while not fun, is key here. Alright, with our enamel wash fully dried, let's grab our tank and spray the whole thing with a coat of clear matte varnish to seal in our work and knock down any of that excess shininess on the vehicle. And as you can see, we're looking much more realistic already here, but no tank is complete without a little dirt and dust, so let's get some of that going. The first product we're going to use here is called Kursk Soil. It's an enamel product, and we're going to blot this in along the top and bottom of our hull here in a nice broken, inconsistent wave. Alright, and now with a clean, dry brush, let's take some of this winter soil pigment and blot a bit of that right over the enamel we just applied. Some of this can also extend past where our Kursk soil was applied, no worries at all. This is just going to be our first layer of built up soil. Next, we're going to grab some dark earth pigment. It's slightly lighter than our previous product, as you can see, and we're going to blot some of that in here in a few places. Variation is key, because in real life, dirt doesn't all look the same. And finally, we're going to grab a little bit of this much lighter Europe earth pigment and speckle this in here and there in a few places as well. Extra little bit of color there. And then finally, we're going to grab our Kursk soil enamel once again, and we're going to dab this in a few places on both the top and bottom of the hull sides. This is just going to start soaking into the pigments right away, and we'll see how this all blends together in just a bit. Alright, now we're going to want to repeat that process on all sides of our vehicle, and then we can walk away for about an hour or so and let that start to dry. When that's all set, we can grab a stiff bristled brush and start to blend all of these products together. Using an up and down motion, we can drag some of this product along with gravity, as though it were building up and eventually running down the sides of the tank. And you'll see this creates a nice blotchy, muddy finish with some areas of dry dirt, some areas of wet dirt, all accumulating differently on the sides of the vehicle. We're going to want to add a little bit of dust to the upper surfaces of our vehicle as well. Much more subtle here, but we can just grab a little bit of the pigment that's fallen off onto our workstation and dab that into the areas of our tank where dust might accumulate, like around the turret ring, the vertical armor plates, around the pioneering tools, etc. And once that's done, we can turn our attention back to our tracks. Just like with our hull, let's start by coating these with some of that Kursk soil product. Be sure to cover both sides of the track as well. Once that's applied, we're going to repeat the same trio of pigments on the tracks here. Once again, in a sort of random coverage using all three colors. I then let that dry completely overnight and came back in the morning with a stiff bristled brush to knock off any of the excess that I didn't want on there. And this leaves us with some nice dirt-caked tracks. And for a final touch, we can take a little gunmetal pigment and brush that over the surface of our tracks to highlight the worn steel that would be coming in contact with any pavement or cobblestones the vehicle has driven over. And after that, all that's left to do is attach our tracks to the tank. And just like that, we've got ourselves an authentic, professional weathering job without too much hassle at all. If you all enjoyed the video, please be sure to subscribe right here to Spruce and Bruce Scale Modeling for new scale modeling tutorials and history videos each and every week. And if you'd like to check out some more tips and tricks, you can do so right here. Until next time, my friends, be well, happy building, cheers.